Christmas Eve, 1945. Fayetteville, West Virginia. The Sodder family, George and Jenny, along with their 9 children, were fast asleep when a sudden fire erupted in their home. By morning, the house was reduced to ashes, and 5 of the Sodder children were gone. Vanished without a trace. The official explanation? An accidental fire caused by faulty wiring. But from the start, things didn't add up. Witnesses saw strangers watching the children days before the fire. Someone cut the Sodder family's phone lines, preventing them from calling for help. And perhaps most chillingly, a man had threatened George Sodder's family just months earlier, warning that his children would die in a house fire. In this video we take a look at this unsolved mystery of almost 80 years and the suspects who were never investigated. Two months before the fire, George Sodder had a heated argument with an insurance salesman, Armstead Rossalong Jr. Long, a well-connected businessman and the president of Rossalong Insurance Incorporated, had come to sell George a policy. But when George refused, Long became furious. Witnesses say Long left George with a chilling warning: "Your house will go up in flames, and your children will die as a consequence of your anti-Mussolini statements." George, an Italian immigrant, was outspoken against fascist leader Benito Mussolini. In the heavily Italian-American town of Fayetteville, this had already made him enemies. Did Long follow through on his threat? Or was he connected to something even bigger? In the days leading up to the fire, multiple witnesses saw a mysterious man parked along the road, watching the Sodder children. He never spoke. He never got out. He just watched. Who was he? Was he planning something? If this was just an accident, why were the Sodder children under surveillance? As the Sodder home burned, the family desperately tried to call the fire department. But the phone was dead. Later, a telephone repairman discovered that the wires had been deliberately cut, not burned. This was no accident. Someone wanted to ensure the family couldn't call for help. The question is, who? Fayetteville Fire Chief F.J. Morris was in charge of the investigation. He declared the fire an accident, case closed. But years later, Morris made a shocking confession. He admitted that he had lied about finding human remains in the fire. Why would he lie? And why, when an investigator later found a human bone fragment at the site, did experts determine that it had never been exposed to fire? Did Morris help cover up the truth? The fire was the last time anyone saw the 5 Sodder children. Or was it? Days later, a woman at a Charleston hotel claimed she had seen the children with 2 men and 2 women of Italian descent. Another witness, a waitress, swore she served breakfast to the missing Sodder kids the morning after the fire. If the children died in the fire, how could they have been seen alive? Some believe the Sodder children were taken as part of a mafia or pro-fascist vendetta. George Sodder's anti-Mussolini views made him enemies. Some believe his children were kidnapped in retaliation. Years later, Jenny Sodder received an anonymous letter with a photo of a young man resembling her missing son, Louis. Scrawled across the back were 5 chilling words: "I love brother Frankie. Ill, boys." A9013235. Could the Sodder children have been taken and raised elsewhere? For decades, the official record has called the Sodder fire an accident. But the evidences suggest something far more sinister. A threatening insurance salesman. A mysterious man watching the children. Sabotaged phone lines. A man seen stealing the automobile chain blocks from George's hauling company close to the house the night of the fire. An unknown caller calling the Sodder residence some hours before the fire. A fire chief caught in a lie. And sightings of the missing children long after the fire. So, was this just an accident? Or was it a cover-up?